work in my natural, vascular way with
Want me to video it?
apocryphal stories, some double entendres, and a few innuendos. For those who don't know, an innuendo is Italian for a suppository. When I come away, I always bring a banana with me, so there's something to slip on when I come out of the shower. When I was a lad, my dad asked me what I'd like to be when I grew up, and I said, Dad, I'd like to be a soldier. And he grasped me round the ankles and dunked my head in a soft-boiled egg.
As you do.
I nearly didn't make the conference this year. I had a cash flow problem. And then I came into some money. I had a wank in the till. Now it seems our addiction... not only causes blindness, but it can affect our hearing.
Pardon? Well, you know what you do for that, don't you?
Well, I phoned up Lord Morgan. I said, why have we got to send our money to a remote port in Russia? And he said, what do you mean? I said, why do I have to send my money to Vladivostok? He said to me, you prat. He said, it's bloody Bobstock. So I've been overseas seeking a cure, and I went to Disneyland, and I stayed in a hotel, and Daffy Duck was staying in the same hotel. And he sent down to room service for some condoms, and they said, shall we put them on your bill? He said, don't be fucking silly, I'll suffocate. So I went to America, I went to the USA, and I went out with the redhead. She had no hair, just a redhead. And I went into this bar and it said, liquor up the front and poker in the rear. And I thought, that's not for me. That sort of action leaves a funny taste. Now, do you know the best way to get rid of unwanted pubic hairs?
So we do.
So I went down to Mexico and I thought I found the cure. An older lady, and she said to me, how do you fancy a blowjob? And I said, will it affect my benefit? Anyway, she took out her false teeth. She had all her own teeth taken out except one. I shall never forget her name. She just had the one tooth. Oh,
180.
Oh, you've been there? Was it all right, Mick? I've even tried professional ladies. And I ended up having to see a doctor. I went all the way up to Sheffield, he was recommended. And I said, I've got these green growths on my willy. And he said, oh, this sports doctor up in Sheffield. And he said, in rugby you get cauliflower ears. He said, you've got brothel sprouts. I'm through with professionals. I prefer the old enthusiastic amateur. The Chinese lady who lives over the road, she came over to me and she said, Mick, I'm looking for a Roger. I just got my trousers around the ankle and she said, for my spare room. Now I went out with a Chinese girl once looking for the cure, and I took her back to my place and I said, come upstairs, lass, and I said, I said, come upstairs.
Oh, that's a bit fancy, that shirt.
And in a subtle way, I said, you know that I have with women, I said, get your knickers off. And she said, I'm not that sort of girl on a false date. Oh, I said, it's not for sex, I said. I just want to listen to you sliding down the banisters. Now, I went out with a posh bird from Alford.
Oh.
Yeah, really posh bird she was. And I said, any chance of sex? She said, sex? She said, that's what we keep our tattoos in. Anyway, the other day I was out cycling and I saw this sign, it said, slow concealed entrance. And I thought, that reminded me of that Norfolk bird I went out with. When I was seeking the cure, this was, she was a bit slow, with the concealed entrance, and if you know what I mean. Yep.
Yes, I understand.
And I said, well, you want to know how slow? I said, any chance of a bit how's your father? And he said, oh, he's very well, thank you. Anyway, one day she agreed to reveal the concealed entrance. So I went to the chemist and I said, 3 packets of condoms. They said, do you want to take a bag? And I said, I know she's fat. I said, but she's not that ugly. Anyway, while I was making love to her, she said, well, say something. You know, you never know what to say when you're making love to a woman. And I remember that book by M.J. Morgan.
Not the MJ Morgan.
MJ, yeah, the subtle... Oxford, yeah. The Subtle Art of Seduction, Chapter 1, Talking on the Job. So I said to her, you don't sweat much for a fat bird. So it's back to the addiction. I'm getting on a lot better with the wife. I booked a table for Valentine's Day, but she was bloody hopeless at snooker. We're getting on like a house on fire now. As soon as I get warm, she chucks a bucket of water over me. We're lined up for a Halloween party when we get back, and I've got her some crotchless knickers. Nothing sexual, but I thought to get a better grip on the broomstick. So I'd like to welcome...
Object to that.
Right, done with it then. What, splinters? You're worried about splinters? A lot of people don't know this, and you Kappa blokes, I tried to join the Kappa once when I was a lad. And I went along and I filled the form in, name, age and all the rest of it, and Brian said, are you a roundhead or a cavalier? I said, what do you mean? He said, oh, you're circumcised? Oh yeah, I said. He said, sorry, and he screwed it up, chucked it in the bin. He said, you're not welcome, you can't make the cap, but he said, you've got to be the complete prick to get in the cap. So welcome to the new newcomers to the conference, and when I look round at you lads in your Catford outfit, there's one word that comes to my mind, and that's medication. Thank you.